Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from the comfy couch here in the outskirts here. It's the Gaming Saloon Reviews for November 16th, 2024, which your host, Space 2448, and wrap it up, Salon.
Hi.
We're at the final part of the trilogy before we can go back to Drive Proper. This one-off little 3-episode mini-series that was on like the Toei Tokusatsu or like the Toei fan club or something. I don't know. It was released somewhere.
The last of the offshoot stuff before we do the last 8 episodes for Drive for the year.
Basically. Does that mean we start next year with Surprise Future, or is that like one more week off?
Good question.
Oh no, it's 4 batches, then Surprise Future.
Okay.
But yeah, it is Kamen Rider Yongou, the net special that follows up on the events of Sangou in order to go, oh right, we killed Mach in the movie, we have to fix that. Here's 3 episodes fixing that. And also other things, but we'll get to that at the end. But before we get into the movie itself, how do you feel going in?
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You know what I just looked at?
What?
We still are going to have something important starting next year with. The first TGSR episode we do next year will be Traderon's debut.
Yeah, that makes sense. Gotta have to get to that before Surprise Future at some point.
The simple fact that I went and I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that right around Traderon? Yes. 33 is the one where Traderon debuts, and yeah, we'll end at 32 for the year. Like, yep, that's
nice.
on brand.
Bear in mind, we do not plan these that hard. But yeah, any thoughts going in?
No. I was kind of expecting to like this more than I did, but it's generic shocker plot takeover world concept.
Basically, I think the only reason I kind of like this is because of what it says at the end without getting too into the weeds about it. But we'll get there.
Well, I feel like yeah, I might as well say it anyhow. I kind of feel like they did our 2 other writers kind of crappy with this.
A little, yeah. Yuto and Takumi don't get to do a whole lot, except one of them gets to die a whole bunch, and the other one gets to mope about a whole bunch.
It's just one of those. I feel like this went from we should be focused on, fixing the problem Sangou did, to we're gonna make a movie for one of the writers, and it's not gonna be the one that you think it'll be.
Yep.
I'm like, we just completely took a left turn for no reason.
Yep. Just as a quick note, this is the 3rd separate writer for this material, because this is Nobuhiro Mori writing this special, and Kyohei Yamaguchi doing the directing on it. So 3 different people have written this trilogy of material. Can't you tell? with how inconsistent it all is, how none of it lines up at all.
I mean, there's the one thing that the timey-wimey BS machine that they had in Sangou actually came back in this one as a destroyed hunk of junk that isn't really doing anything.
Except turning on whenever someone feels sad. Because it's basically the plot.
Look, I expected to kind of like this, and I feel like, no, this is about on point with Sangou.
Yeah.
I hate being that way. Is it as bad? I might could argue no. But I think that's more because it feels like, you know, I could pay attention to what was going on in the fights that were happening here, as opposed to most of the times in Sangou where it was just, yes, we have everyone.
It helps there's only 4 riders in this. Technically 5, but he doesn't get to show up until halfway through.
It's one of those... It's one of those moments that the big get-together, every rider in existence fights the bad guy. That's cool and all once in a while. When you try to make that the whole purpose for why you made the movie, that's when I don't care.
Yeah. I wish more Spring Tyson's films were like this. Here's your main cast, here's a couple returning riders, we throw them against some villains for a plot, and we're done in an hour, like an hour and a half.
And forget that Shocker exists.
Basically. I am tired of Shocker being the be-all, end-all villain of the franchise when they didn't even survive till the end of their own goddamn show that they were introduced in. They got blown up to be replaced by Gel Shocker, aka Shocker 2.0.
It's one
in a
of
merger.
It's one of those, you want to know the best way that they could combine some of this? And truthfully, we could have actually wound up doing something along these lines. We have a villain group for Drive already.
Yeah.
Let the Roidmudes find some kind of time shenanigan machine, even if it's just some weird offshoot that you can loosely try to piece together to a different show, and that be the reason for all of them being here. At least then it's not Shocker. It's not we're following up from the last movie. It's we're having this separate adventure that's not actually being true canon, but it can be if you want it to be.
So weird that I feel like the Saber Revice movie got it right, where Shocker and that is just they're in the background. They did a thing. Here's some shit that they found in a bunker and released.
Mainly because, you know, that's the way it needs to be, kind of deal.
Yeah, it's like, no, Shocker's dead. They are done. Their shit is just everywhere, and some villain can find it and do shit with it, but Shocker as an organization is dead, buried, and done.
And you know, it's kind of dumb, especially in a sense like this. None of these 4 riders really had any interaction with Shocker.
No.
Why was Shocker the villain? I could completely understand it if you're trying to tie in to one of the riders that had some form of interaction with Shocker or one of their splinters. But when you're not everything was Shocker's fault.
As much as Hongo and Hayato's Shocker sense told them otherwise.
It's one of those, it's like, come on guys, we can move on.
No, we have to pander to the
You can't even finish that one.
What are there even? Are there G1ers in the writer fandom that are like Showa and only Showa? Because I feel like they don't exist. I feel like the only people who are like that are like Heisei Phase 1ers. Sort of like, no, Heisei Phase 1 is the best era ever. Nothing will ever top it, ever, period. No one will go to bat for Showa like that.
You're always going to have someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I get it. But tie in with the writers that are there. If someone is going to see a movie that is based around newer writers, they're not going to know what the heck Shocker is. Because they probably haven't watched the older stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Quit making Shocker the bad guys.
I honestly don't even know how available the older writer stuff is in Japan to be like, are kids even able to watch the original series to even go, oh, hey, look, Shocker. I know who Shocker is. I've seen that show. That is like, was made when my parents were kids.
I'd say it's probably at least somewhat available just because the fact of, you know, we did get OG and dub kind of deal. Or I mean, sub kind of deal. Not dub. Sub. So, oh God, could you imagine that one?
That is a project that I have, because that is 98 episodes. It is hard enough to get 12 episodes of a show dubbed, let alone 98 of them. Especially when I'm pretty sure you have to rotate out probably like 4 people to voice all the monsters of the weeks. Because that you cannot hire a unique person for every single one of those. That would implode the budget.
Yeah.
Anywho, shall we get into the episodes themselves?
Yeah, because we probably literally just spent more time talking about it without even talking about it than you probably will with the recaps.
So, for reference, I'm not going to bother breaking this down into the 3 separate episodes. I'm just going to break it. It'll be broke down into the loops, because that's how the wiki broke it down. And you know what? That's better.
It's more consistent anyhow, especially if you do like me and wind up finding where someone mashed all 3 together.
Oh, yeah, I have them as separate episodes.
Yeah. The site I found it on had it all mashed together, and I'm like, oh, cool, easy.
I'm sure that plays better.
Except for they didn't cut the previews out, so you still get the preview for no reason.
Anyway, kickoff. Shocker has excavated the history modifying machine that they used for the Sangou, or for the Sangou movie, and they got it back up and running. So we cut to Tamari waking up at the office. He gets a call from Kiriko saying, "Hey, you're missing out on the movie," and it's for the anime that Hugh likes. Her and Go end up going to see it while Tamari heads down to the pit, talks to Grim, who's like, "Hey, I have a thing that monitors your vitals. That's not going to be plot important later. Don't worry about it."
Literally within 2 loops.
Yeah. This is when Takumi and Yuto, aka Faiz and Zeranos, show up to be like, "Shocker's attacking," and then they go and fight the cheetah monster that was Gento in the Sangou movie. They fight it for a bit. The cheetah monster gets away. The 2 of them chase after it while Tamari takes on the Shocker goons. Kiriko and Go stumble upon it. Go hops into the fight. The three of them beat the monster, only for the monster to grab Go after he untransforms and blows up with him and kills him. And oh no! And then freeze frame, a green wave happens. Then we cut to Tamari waking up at the office. He gets a call from Kiriko. He's missing out on a movie that her and Go are going to, and now you see how this is going to play out now.
Yep, and the not so subtle date of 4/4.
Ah, it must be double death then, because that's a thing in Japan. Apparently 4 is the cursed number in Japan.
Huh.
So yeah, on loop 2, there is a second monster now that Tamari ends up having to deal with, and he ends up fighting off while Phi, Xeranos, and Mach blow up the first one. And unfortunately, this ends again with Go dying, and this time he's impaled by the new monster. And then it freeze frames, green wave. We're back to the office as Tamari wakes up again, but now he actually remembers, because he's been slowly remembering over the first 2 loops, meaning that technically this first loop I don't think is the first time we're doing this. Maybe. There might be more loops before this. Who knows?
These are the only important loops.
What matters is this time Tamari goes ahead and also tells Go, don't show up to the park.
Which he still shows up anyhow.
He don't listen. Because he gets ahead of Takumi and Yuto, who he leaves a note for, being like, I'm going ahead. Follow behind me. Only this time, Tamari intercepts a shot, takes it, and dies. And then we freeze frame, rewind back to the beginning. And this kind of ends our first episode as Shocker is working on Kamen Rider Yongou himself in his fancy special biplane, the Sky Cyclone, which is technically his rider machine, because he gets to be fancy and have a biplane. And also has a wingsuit in his design. Still in this 4th loop as we start the next episode, Kiriko isn't able to reach Tamari. But Tamari does talk to Yuzo and Takumi as they show up and be like, hey, we're in a time loop. Here is literally evidence of me dying that cannot be tampered with. We need to figure out what the fuck's happening.
And insert the first time that this decided to piss me off right here. Yuto, literal time child here, refuses to believe any of this could possibly be happening until the proof is shown.
Yep. Man,
dude, your entire job is to maintain the time stream. This should not be a surprise. This should not be a, nah, you're lying to me. This should be a, wait a minute, maybe this is.
Also, you're a fixed point in time. You should be able to remember the original timeline, the original ass timeline. Because,
okay, leading up to this point, I was thinking, okay, Yuto being a fixed point in time, I might could even see them trying to spin Fies being that way. For whatever reason. But it's one of those, I could see them wanting to keep the course and try to let everyone else catch up to them. Not Tamari's the one that figures this out because of reasons, and they're not gonna believe anything.
Yeah. But yeah, Tamari lays all this out and it's like, we need to figure out a plan. Takumi's like, fuck plans, I'm gonna go fight Shocker. Yuto's like, I'm gonna go take the train and I'm gonna go try to find the source of the time loop. And fortunately, he runs into a wall and gets thrown out of the train. Him and Denep fail at their job. Their one job.
Which, I mean, for anyone that has paid attention to the show, that does happen a lot, so.
Mm-hmm.
That one was not surprising.
Tamari also calls Kiriko to be like, take Go home. Do not go anywhere. God damn it.
And that will not be listened to again.
Yep, because as Takumi's going to go fight Shocker, he gets cut off by one of his buddies, Kaido, from his show, who is an orphanoc. By the way, Takumi's also an orphanoc. That'll be important later. We just don't see his orphanoc form. Anyway, the two of them tussle for a bit because he's like, Takumi, don't fight, just chill. And Takumi's like, no. And this is when Go shows up and starts attacking Kaido, and Takumi's like, no, he's a friend. This is just how we settle things in my show. But Kaido pisses off. Eventually, we end up fighting Shocker and stuff. I believe Go realizes that he's like remembers dying to the cheetah monster this time, and Takumi tries to save him but fails because even with Fi's Axel he can't stop the shot, so it kills Go again. And we're back around to loop 5, and this time Kiriko and Go get pulled to the pit, and they pretty much have landed on, since they've been told by Shocker that one of them is causing the loop or keeping the loop in play. They figured out that Kiriko's keeping the loop in play because she's always there when someone dies, and she's always mourning whoever dies. Granted, the only people who have died are Go and Tamari.
And the only one that's been consistently getting killed has been Go.
So, So now they need to figure out how to get out of the loop and restore the timeline. Except if they restore the timeline, Go dies, which is the sticking point.
Because if they restore the timeline and Go's dead, then no more show either.
Yeah, that's a problem. Anyway, Shocker finishes up Yongou, and as the team heads out to confront the attacking Shocker, Yongou shows up and then beats the shit out of everybody. Because too bad, new villain strong. Also
his name's in the title, so.
And he's also voiced by Eternal, who sings the theme song for this that plays at the end of every episode. So Eternal's actor gets to be 2 writers.
I actually didn't catch that.
I don't think you can really hear it. I think just because he's kind of putting on a different voice for it.
Well, it did kind of sound familiar, but I couldn't place why.
Yeah.
So that's one of those that it was familiar enough for me to be like, where have I heard this before? But at the same time, not enough for me to be like, oh yeah, it's this.
Yeah. He also sings the Drive opening theme, which is why he's singing this theme and voicing Yongou. And I believe he does one more theme for, I think, Surprise Future.
I think so.
Yeah, he does like 3 songs for Drive. But anyway, he shows up, kicks ass, kills Zeranos. Does he kill anybody else? Oh yeah, he kills Tamari.
Yeah.
And then we are back around to loop 6, as Tamari is now very pissed off.
Because he's died yet again.
Yep. Which now brings us to episode 3, where we are on loop ? Because...
You know, I just thought of something.
What?
There was 2 people that died before the loop got reset.
Yep.
Why was that one the odd one?
Because of the twist, I assume.
Well, I'm just sitting there thinking, you know, the twist would actually imply that, you know, before we saw the second death, that should have reset.
Yeah.
Way to break continuity in your own logic there.
I think the problem is they have to preserve the loop for an extra like half an episode. So it's like, okay, we can't have the loop immediately restart when Yuto dies.
Except for it was supposed to.
Yeah. Because then it's gonna be very suspicious. Because it's like, wait a minute, why would Kiriko be sad about Yuto dying and it reset there? Wait a minute, something's not lining up logic-wise. But yeah, we are now on loop ? Because apparently several dozen loops have passed by now as the team has tried to figure out what the fuck to do. Shocker has essentially replicated a half a dozen more monsters, made 4 Shocker riders basically out of 4 regular riders, specifically Baron, Sasord, Oja, and Dark Kiva. One of these people is not like the other. I wonder who. One of these people isn't an outright villain, I think. I think technically 2 of these might be.
I mean, it could be any of them.
Poor Baron, he keeps getting lumped in with all the Dark Riders, and I'm like, why? Just because you went bad at the end of your show does not mean you're a complete bad guy.
Okay. If it was Lord Baron all the time, then
yeah,
yes, I could completely understand that. But when it's rider form, no. Why? Why are we doing that?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, those guys are now supporting Shocker. I guess it's not them and just people using their belts or whatever. I don't care. The show doesn't care. They're 4 suits to have a fight scene with, basically. They've also mass-produced the Sky Cyclone because they want an Air Force. Anyway, by now, Tamari and gang have figured out where Shocker's HQ is, and they figured out that if they blow up the machine, maybe that can fix things.
Maybe.
They also figure out that if Kiriko dies, it will stop because it will lose its source of being able to do it.
They think.
They think. Because again, they have no idea specifically what's happening. They are only shooting in the dark now. But yeah, Tamari doesn't want that to happen, but Kiriko's like, look, if it needs to happen, it needs to happen. Meanwhile, Takami's like moping about his friends and stuff because a lot of people die in his show that he knows, so he's kind of like doesn't have a lot of friends left. Kaido tries to cheer him up. The next day, Tamari and gang try to storm the HQ, only Go and Kiriko got kidnapped off screen. So, oops. But Kiriko's like, you know what? Fuck this. And literally jumps off the tower that she's being held at and is like, nope, no more loops. She falls, dies, and screen freezes and we get a flash of green. And Tamari wakes up in the office. He's getting a call from Kiriko. We fucked up. Kiriko's not the source of the loop. And as it turns out, in the little montage, if you paid attention, there's one person out of this entire group that has not died, even according to the montage. It's Takami. Takami has not died the entire time. He's the only reason the loop still exists. And everyone has figured that out, including Takami. So, I'll talk about this now, because pretty much the ending will talk about this kind of vaguely. So, Takami after the end of his show dies, because using any of the Phys belts, you have to be an Orphanoch to use it. But if you're an Orphanoch, you're someone who has died already and been revived with the DNA thing in you that lets you be an Orphanoch. But using the gear burns out that DNA, meaning you will die again. So Takami using the Phys gear throughout this entire series basically put him near death at the end of his show. And this special very much implies that he died not long after the show ended. So guess what this special has done in having Takami be dead by the end of this. This special has written out every single Spring Tyson film or any other piece of material Takami has showed up in as Phys from here on forth. if Fi shows up again, he can't be in canon anymore because he should be dead. That is the only reason I think I kind of like this, is because it literally writes out all of the crappy, stupid, dumb crossover films I don't like from continuity and says, nope, they can't exist anymore. I don't know if that makes you feel any better about them or not.
Meh.
Fair. But anyway, to end the special itself, the team kind of talks to Takumi, and Takumi's like, well, this is my fault. I'm going to go fix this. And everyone's like, well, maybe we can find a way for you to not be dead. And he's like, nah, it's fine. I've been living on borrowed time, apparently. So they raid the base, beat up the monsters and stuff. Takumi has a showdown with his friend. They get a decent little fight scene. I like how it ends with him doing like the rider kick and Kaido kind of falling on his back. But the Great Leader shows up to fuck with him one more time, taking the form of Takumi. And Takumi, out of suit, mind you, holding his phone as in its gun form, is just like, well, bye, everybody. Literally takes the shot and blows up the machine and resets us back to the proper original timeline where everybody is alive except him. And we even emphasize it by a photo taken in this last loop where Takumi's in it, but now he's not there.
And that's actually the double down point, because we also see the date finally has changed.
Yep, it is no longer April 4th. It is now April 5th. Kaido seemingly remembers Takumi, but again, Takumi is dead. He is dead. This special put him to rest. And that is all of Yongou. How do you feel by the end of it? Fair. It is very bargain bin basic writer crossover. I think I only cut it slack because, ooh, you wrote out all of the Spring Tyson films out of continuity and said, nope, if I shows up again, it's out of continuity. And I'm like, cool. Unless we literally pull time shenanigans, literally it's out of continuity. And I'm like, you know what? That means most of the things I don't like can piss off. That's like the only credit you get, which I think bumps it from like, I guess a 5 to like a 6, 5.5 maybe. I don't know. We don't score anything on here, so I don't know why I'm trying to give it a score. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, if anyone wanted to give it a score, you could, you could call it a 4.
Yeah, that honestly sounds about right. I would probably give it a 4 and give the other one a 3.
And I feel like that would be accurate for both.
But yeah, this finally ends this trilogy of Spring Tyson nonsense, and I guess we won't have to deal with the Spring Tyson film ever again until we, I guess, watch X8 for this. Because then we could do the X8 one, because it's the one we've never done. It's also the one I've never watched.
Same.
I've watched all of these stupid, dumb, terrible movies except the fucking X8 one, which is also the last one. But yeah, in 2 weeks, though, we are back to Drive proper, as we'll finally get Jason in his rider form. And also introducing the go-karts that have been in this special, in the movie.
Yeah.
It takes till after they after this that they get to debut in the episodes.
Yeah.
The big, dumb, pointless go-karts that only exist to make the Trideron fly, I think.
Pretty much.
Which technically they already have a thing to do it, but they don't want to acknowledge that they have the guy shift car still. That should also let him fly.
But that was movie form adjacent, I guess you have to say.
Yeah. But it also, Tamari cannot drive the Tridorun while in that form. We established that in the movie.
Yeah. But he does not have to be in the form for the Tridorun to use the tire change. So.
Yes. But anywho, in 2 weeks we'll have that. But between now and then, tomorrow's a thing.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Next Thursday, I'll be continuing Valkyria Chronicles. Next Friday will be the Destiny thing, maybe.
Maybe. I honestly don't know.
And then next week will be TGS, where we, I don't know, talk about something. We're in more release time than news time, so it could be anything. I can't wait to get a 24-hour notice on the Nintendo Direct. That's going to feel fun. Yeah, also, just as a programming note, is the next TGSR the last regularly scheduled one? I forget where.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say, it will, we will have one more TGSR this year in December, along with one more TGS in December, but they won't be in their normal, like, bi-weekly slots, I believe.
I think the TGS one will be close. Actually, no. The TGSR one will be.
Oh, okay.
The TGS one is just going to be offset.
Yeah, I forgot to double check that, where that's going to line up, because I guess I'll say it here. We basically are kind of like checking the normal schedule and doing I guess you could say a best of the year set of streams throughout December. It's going to be just a little bit of everything we've done over the year. Like every couple days, basically.
Yep. I'm going to try to see if I can't set up something for schedule as far as image wise. Hopefully before Saturday kind of deal.
That would help. If we can do like a big one, I can just pin that to the Twitter and the Blue Sky, and I can still do like the regular weekly ones.
And the Mastodon.
Yeah, that too. I forget. I only end up using Mastodon as the thing that will generate, even though it's the first one I post. That's where I copy the scheduled text and then like change it up. But yeah, the December will be a nice best of before we kind of like reset for the year back to normal. So bear that in mind, folks, in just a few weeks. But anywho, if you like what you're seeing, folks, and maybe interested in what we're doing going forward, drop a follow. Really appreciate chipping away at the feeling go. ! Social in chat gives you links to our socials, or gives you the handles for our socials, not the links, not yet.
I need to update that.
We haven't fixed that yet. And ! Discord and chat gives you this link. Drop by, say hi, and we'll see you tomorrow, folks.